Israel has just emerged as the dominant superpower of the Middle East, bar none. That's the implication of the stunning, surprise, preemptive, sweeping military attacks that Prime Minister Netanyahu ordered the Israeli military to attack Iran's nuclear sites, its ballistic missile facilities, and its top military leadership. Hi, this is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem with a YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report. Now, you have to understand that what just happened has completely changed the Middle East forever. I'm not saying it won't get messy. I'm not saying that Iran may not have some tricks up its sleeve, that it will be able to fire missiles or suicide drones and do some damage. Some real damage. Iran may have ways to hurt Israel in the coming hours and days, and it could unleash suicide bombers and terror cells throughout Europe, throughout the United States, Canada, around the world, killing Jews, killing Israelis, killing Americans, killing Europeans, killing Christians. There's a lot of damage that Iran could do. But something huge has just happened, and I want to walk you through how big a deal this is. Most people in the world thought that Israel couldn't technically destroy Iran's nuclear facilities, nuclear weapons facilities, its nuclear program. They didn't believe we could destroy Iran's ballistic missile program, and they didn't believe we could decapitate Iran's military leadership. But all that happened beginning around 3 a.m. on Friday, June 13th. Now, Friday the 13th, by the way, I just have to say, is a date that everybody fears. It's stuff of legends of horror films. Friday the 13th, right? So I never watched it, but you might have. But no Israeli and no Iranian will ever think of Friday the 13th the same again, because that was the night that Israel made history. Israel attacked the Iranian regime with so much military force, so much precision, and so much secrecy and deception. Iran's leadership didn't see it coming, and there is just smoking wreckage where a really dangerous military arsenal once stood. Okay, I'm going to walk you through in a few moments here, some of the specifics. Okay, but I just want to emphasize right up front how big a deal this is. President Obama told Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu back in 2012, "Don't hit Iran. Don't use military force. I will come up with the JCPOA, the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. I will create a nuclear deal that will solve all your problems, Bibi." And Bibi Netanyahu felt his hands were tied, that he did not have American permission to go and attack Iran when he felt it needed to be done then. And then President Trump came along, right? And so Netanyahu thought, all right, well, maybe we could attack then. But Trump decided, give me time to use what he called the maximum pressure campaign and to push Iran's economy with very crippling sanctions to get Iran to come back to the table. And Trump ripped up the Iran nuclear deal, right, and put all this military, or all this economic pressure and political pressure on Iran, but didn't want Netanyahu to take military action. And even over the last couple months, Trump wanted a deal, right? He wanted a nuclear deal with Iran. But Israel struck, and it struck decisively. And now Israel is considered the dominant superpower in the region, right? The United States didn't destroy Iran's nuclear program or its ballistic missile program. And it wasn't the United States that took out the top 20 military commanders in Iran. That's Israel. That's astonishing, right? The chief of staff of the Iranian military, dead. The commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, the IRGC, the top terrorist in all of Iran, gone, dead, assassinated by Israel. The top 20 leaders, 20 military commanders in Iran, they're dead. And I think in the hours and days ahead, we may see more. Wave after wave of Israeli attacks are continuing to pound Iranian positions, particularly those nuclear sites like Natanz and other hardened nuclear sites that are very deep underground, where Iran was enriching uranium illegally in defiance of its own signature on the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, in defiance of one UN resolution after another. In fact, the UN Nuclear Watchdog Agency, the IAEA, the International Atomic Energy Agency, just declared again Iran in non-compliance, in egregious non-compliance, dangerous non-compliance, and voted overwhelmingly to condemn, publicly condemn Iran. That almost never happens at the UN. It almost never happens inside the IAEA. And it just happened days ago. So Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu and the Israeli Defense Forces, the IDF, have done something that the United States never did, that previous Israeli governments haven't done, that no Arab government could do, even though every Arab government in the region, maybe with the exception of Qatar, and maybe the exception of Iraq, every Arab leader that I've met with in the region wants Iran's nuclear and missile forces and terror infrastructure to be neutralized. If it could be done diplomatically, great. But there was no evidence that it could be done diplomatically. And there was cheering inside the palaces. I guarantee you there's cheering inside Arab capitals in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, in Bahrain, in Jordan, in Egypt, in Morocco. Israel has taken out Hezbollah's top leadership, Hamas's top leadership, and now Iran's top military leadership. Now, so far as I record this YouTube exclusive, there's no reporting that Israel targeted the supreme leader of Iran, of the Islamic Republic of Iran, Ali Khamenei. Nor is there any evidence or reporting yet that Israel targeted and took out the new president of Iran or any of the political leadership or the religious leadership. Now, that could change in the hours and days ahead, especially if Iran launches a series of retaliatory attacks that actually draws blood here, that causes real damage and real death and real destruction. But barring that, I think that Netanyahu is sending a signal to the aging, infirm supreme leader of Iran. You're not that supreme. I've taken out your entire nuclear weapons infrastructure. I've taken out most of your ballistic missile forces and the factories where you create this stuff. And I've killed your top 20 or so military commanders. And I can take you out also. Don't test me. I think that's the message. Now, what is happening is President Trump, who was trying to make a deal with Iran, he genuinely was. He genuinely thought there's a possibility. Let's give Iran's regime the possibility that if you want to make a deal. When did Trump make that ultimatum to Iran? He made that ultimatum, he issued it on April 12th. When did 60 days elapse? June 11th. And what happened in the last few days before June 11th? The Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei publicly rejected all the negotiations and said, we're not making a deal. And Trump could see that Steve Witkoff, his chief envoy, was meeting with the Iranians and it was going nowhere. In fact, Iran was hardening its positions and simultaneously accelerating its enrichment of uranium to military grade, and intelligence seems to indicate Iran was moving toward building 9, some reports say 9 nuclear bombs. Other reports are telling us 15 nuclear bombs. I'm not sure yet. But the point is, Iran was going in the wrong direction. So what happened on the 61st day after Trump's ultimatum? That was Thursday, June 12th. It's clear now, Trump gave Bibi the green light. Bibi was ready. His military was ready. Israel had practiced. And now Bibi Netanyahu had the green light. These negotiations have failed. But Trump gave cover to Israel because he's our friend. And he told Bibi, don't attack Iran while I'm negotiating. And then Israel did. Not in defiance of Trump. It's clear now that Trump gave the green light to Netanyahu on the 61st day after the ultimatum. And what happened? Bibi Netanyahu, the Prime Minister of Israel, gave the order, and in the wee hours of the morning of Friday, June 13th, the 62nd day, Israel attacked. And the attacks are going on as I record this, and the attacks are super successful. It may get messy. Could go on for days or even weeks. But the point is, Bibi Netanyahu has just changed the entire dynamic in the Middle East. The Saudis are watching, and they love what they see. The Emiratis are watching, and they love what they see. The Bahrainis are watching, they love what they see. The Egyptians and the Jordanians have a little bit more complicated relationship with Israel, but they love what they see. Iran has been humbled. No one else would do it. And I'm telling you, 6 months from now, a year from now, you are going to see that Israel is the dominant military power, political power, and I think economic power increasingly. I think Arab countries are going to want to make peace deals and economic deals with Israel because we defeated Iran, because we defeated Hezbollah in Lebanon, because we are in the process of finishing off Hamas in Gaza, and we, by the way, are continuing to hit the Houthis in Yemen. No one else would do it. Trump has helped, but even President Trump didn't want to attack Iran himself. The United States has the capacity, but Trump wanted to play the good cop. But he was fine with Netanyahu playing the bad cop, as it were. Now, one last question. But I want to say, any of you that are evangelical Christians like me, I think this is a huge answer to prayer. The prayers of millions and millions and millions of evangelicals in the United States, Canada, around the world who've been praying for the peace of Jerusalem, for victory over our enemies, and for the neutralization of the Iran nuclear and terror threat. And we're also praying, and keep praying, for the full liberation of the Iranian people from this wicked, corrupt, genocidal regime. Okay? We want to see Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, or someone like him, but I think Pahlavi would be great, to be the new leader of Iran, a new, free, safe, friendly, moderate Iran. You remember on the Rosenberg Report, I did an exclusive interview with the exiled Crown Prince of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, and he told me on camera, I want to make peace with Israel. When I become the leader of Iran, I'm going to make peace with Israel, and I'm going to call it the Cyrus Accords. Right out of the Bible, right out of our history, where Cyrus was the great Persian king that blessed Israel and let all the Jews that had been taken by the Babylonians into captivity and were now under Media Persian control, let them all come back here to Israel, rebuild our capital, rebuild our temple, and the Iranians paid for it. The Persians paid for it under King Cyrus. And that's what Reza Pahlavi told me he wants, the Cyrus Accords. I'm looking forward to that day. Now, I think there's a lot of challenges between here and there. I'm not saying that's necessarily going to happen, but I'm saying we have seen game-changing, historic victories in recent hours and days and weeks. And Netanyahu still is politically underwater here in Israel. The leading opponent of Netanyahu is former Israeli Prime Minister, former Israeli Defense Minister, Naftali Bennett. We just interviewed him exclusively here on the Rosenberg Report. In fact, Thursday night, June 12th, it was the Rosenberg Report where Naftali Bennett laid out his concerns that Bibi Netanyahu wasn't delivering the knockout punch to take out Iran's nuclear and terror threat, missile threat. Why isn't he doing it? And Bennett was pushing and saying, look, Bibi has to do this, or essentially, I'm paraphrasing, he needs to be replaced. Now the question is, does Bibi Netanyahu score a big political victory here? Will Israelis start saying, all right, well, we've had issues with him, but now he's winning? Maybe. And this is a miraculous victory. I'm not saying there aren't messy, hard days ahead. There are, very likely. Let's keep praying. Don't lower your guard. But this is huge. It's huge. And Trump is loving what Netanyahu has accomplished. And Trump has loved playing the good cop and loved letting Bibi play the bad cop. And Bibi loves it too, because this has been his mission. For as long as I've known him, Netanyahu has seen himself as the man who would protect Israel. And October 7th was such a stain on his record and on his rhetoric. But now Netanyahu has done what no Israeli prime minister in history has done, no other world leader has ever done. Neutralized the Iran threat, destroyed Hezbollah, and he's in the process of destroying Hamas and getting the hostages back. Hopefully, keep praying. Thank you so much for watching. Keep praying. Do not stop praying for the peace of Jerusalem. This is Joel Rosenberg in Jerusalem with this YouTube exclusive for the Rosenberg Report.